What's up guys, my name is Fran and once again welcome back, and in this video we're going to be demystifying net neutrality. Okay, so first off, let me apologize in advance. I'm going to try to do this entire video all in one take without any script or anything along those lines, so bear with me for the rough jump cuts as well as lack in b-roll, but I feel like this is such an important subject and definitely something I wanted to address. So why did I decide to make this video in the first place? Well, I saw a lot of memes all over the internet that pretty much made it seem like we're going to go back to the Stone Age of 56K and DSL speeds on our internet connections. And that's not exactly the case. I feel like there's a lot of misinformation out there about the repeal of net neutrality, and hopefully in this video I can help clear some of that up. So what is the Open Internet Act of 2015, or net neutrality? Well, back in 2015, Comcast was accused of throttling the data coming from Netflix to all of their customers. Now at the time, Comcast went to Netflix and said the only way they were going to unthrottle this, or I guess you can say stop this from happening, was if Netflix either paid them a monthly fee or I believe it was a large sum of money. I'm not exactly sure, but this was the demand that Comcast brought to Netflix. Now once Netflix handed over this money, suddenly all traffic coming from Netflix started to run a lot better to all of the customers on Comcast. Now once this news hit the mainstream media, there was a large uproar, and at the time the Obama administration helped with the legislation of the Open Internet Act, or net neutrality. Now it actually says a lot of things, but the main thing that we care about in summary basically says that all ISPs must treat all internet traffic exactly the same, meaning a company like Comcast, at&t, or Verizon can't go to a company like Hulu or YouTube or Netflix and say, hey, you're causing our customers to use a lot more bandwidth than they used before. We need to charge you money to help support this infrastructure. This also helps us avoid a fast lane, slow lane situation. So a company like, let's say, franstreaming.com doesn't end up in a slower lane because he can't afford to pay Comcast, at&t, or Verizon money to end up in the fast lane. But allow me to play devil's advocate for a moment. Do these big internet service providers actually have any claim to charging these companies money because suddenly their customers are using a lot more bandwidth than they've used in the past? But let's look at this from a business owner / infrastructure manager standpoint. Let's say you design, architect, and deploy a network that's rated to go up to 500 megabits per second for every customer connected to your network. Now at the time, the average customer only uses about 50 megabits per second. But as years go by and more connected devices start to come online at a rapidly growing rate, suddenly you're running out of bandwidth for each one of your customers. Each customer is using more than this 500 megabits per second that they're allotted, and suddenly a few things are going to happen. Number one, you're going to start to get complaints about your connectivity actually being slow. Then number two, if you're in a situation such as a cable MoCA network, of course a lot of that data is actually pooled at the node, and at that point you're going to have an entire neighborhood calling in and claiming that their internet connection is slow. Now as a business owner, once I start looking at all these complaints and you start to evaluate what you can actually do and what's really happening, you're just noticing that you're out of resources. You designed and architect a network that is future-proof, but unfortunately the future has just come across a little bit too soon. So naturally you want to go ahead and upgrade these things. But you might think that your $50 to $100 you're paying per month is a lot of money, but when it comes to networking equipment and these large-scale deployments, that's actually a bit of a drop in the bucket. You're looking at a multi-billion-dollar deployment, especially for a city, let's say, like New York. Now, I might be playing devil's advocate here, but it does make a lot of sense that if you do have a network and it's going to cost you billions and billions of dollars to deploy an adequate one that's going to service all of your customers in the way that they want to be serviced, it does sort of make sense to try to get that money from somewhere instead of bringing that to the customer. So what now? Net neutrality has been repealed and we are all screwed. Well, not necessarily. There are a number of states that are attempting to sue the FCC to keep net neutrality rules in existence. And there are also a number of other states that are looking to implement state legislation, so internet service providers must still go by the net neutrality guidelines within their states. There's also a number of other things you can do. There are a bunch of web proxy services that you can configure on your computer, as well as there's a number of VPN services that you can configure at the router level, such as ExpressVPN or ViperVPN. This way, all of your traffic coming from out of your home actually goes to this VPN connection. And then of course, it's my choice that people can build their own internet service provider. But what do you guys think? How do you feel about the repeal of net neutrality? Let's get a conversation going and let me know in the comment section below. Also, while you're down there, if you like this video, hit the like button. And if you aren't already subscribed to the channel, don't forget to subscribe. Once again, guys, my name is Fran. Thanks so much for checking out this video, and I'll see you guys in my next one.